Hi, I'm here with Archbishop Blase, Cupich of Chicago. That was an unusual turn of events. I've been to a couple of USCCB meetings, and I don't think I've seen that kind of passion, eloquence really from Bishop McElroy about calling for the document to be reconsidered altogether. Is his position a statement of broad dissatisfaction with the document this year, do you think?
Well, I think that my reading of what Bishop McElroy said was that he wanted to recognize that there was a lot of hard work that went into the document, and people did what the bishops asked them to do. And yet at the same time, he was asking us to take a step back and say to ourselves, can we admit that we made a mistake? And that this document doesn't serve the purpose anymore, given his very eloquent intervention. I think it was a real high moment, by the way, for the conference, because he spoke in a way that was really very educated, very erudite, and informative. I think it gave us all an opportunity to think about the issues that he raised.
There did seem to be a kind of a moment there where the conference kind of stepped back, and it's almost simultaneously the thought that, well, maybe we don't have to accept this document seemed to occur to everyone. Do you think there's going to be serious discussion about voting against accepting this quadrennial document?
I would never want to second guess how the Bishops' Conference will vote on a particular thing. I've been fooled time and time again. But I do think that now over lunch they're talking about it.
Yeah, and is it this Pope, Pope Francis? Is he just moving? Because that seemed to be the criticism that both Bishop Kicanis and Bishop McElroy had was, where is Pope Francis in these priorities in this document, both the strategic plan and in the faithful citizenship document? Is this Pope moving too quickly for the conferences to keep up?
Well, I think the Holy Father is speaking in a way that is touching the aspirations of a lot of people, and that includes the bishops. So I think that we are trying to discern what we're called to in response to the many imaginative things the Holy Father is calling us to look at very carefully. And he's putting a spotlight on individual cases of people's suffering in the world, the degradation of our ecology. Those kinds of things did not receive the attention in the past. And I think it is a real time of discernment for us to see where we go from here. The Holy Father said something recently too, that this is not just an era of change, it's a change of era. And so I think that that's important to keep in mind as well.
Is Pope Francis moving too quickly in his concerns and the expressions of interest that he thinks the Church should have for the general conferences around the world, particularly here in the United States, to keep up with the emphasis shifts that he's making?
Well, I think the Holy Father is really being moved by the Spirit and helping us understand where the priorities of the Church need to be going forward. He's not forgetting the poor, as a cardinal asked him to keep in mind when he was elected. So I think that the pace of what the Holy Father is saying is really being directed by the Holy Spirit. And so I think if that's the case, the pace is just right.
But it still suggests that there's some structural problems in keeping up for a place like the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops.
Well, I saw that also during the recent synod. We had a time of 3 weeks together, and over those 3 weeks in our interactions with one another, a lot of conversion took place, and that's healthy. And so, yes, are we being stretched? I think that's the case, but sometimes stretching makes us more limber.
Yeah. Would you say it's fair to say, as Bishop McElroy pointed out, that what seems to be lacking from both the strategic plan for 2017 to 2020 and the faithful citizenship document is greater emphasis on the problems of poverty and ecology, integral development, as the Pope says, and too much perhaps on same-sex marriage and some of the issues we're familiar with?
Well, I would put it another way. I would say that, as Bishop McElroy noted, the issues of global poverty and the degradation of the environment now need to be put in that first tier of issues included. It doesn't diminish the effectiveness or the impact or importance of those other issues, but others now have to be joined in that. I think it's important. People always argue that the right to life is foundational, and so you have to have that for all of the other issues to be, in order for them to have their own importance. And at the same time, I think we're also seeing that if an environment in which a foundation is built is insecure because of poverty or the environment, then those aspects also need to be taken into consideration and are just as important.